Yeah, that ain't going. This is going well. Welcome back, guys, and I got a big surprise for you. We are doing rust repair, which we've been doing constantly for like a month now, but no big deal. We're so close to getting done. But first, we're gonna come over here and get this inner panel done. We need to get that in and kind of replace some of the metal here. I'm still debating if I want to take this whole panel out or if I just got to see if I'll be able to save any of this. Let me turn the light on for you. Because it's pretty bubbled all the way up into here, and I'm hoping maybe I can cut into here and weld in. If not, we'll just replace the whole panel. It's definitely rusty behind the panel though, so I got to decide if I need to, you know, take care of the rust, what we're going to do there. Lots of decision, guys. As you see, we have quite a bit still to do, but I think we'll be able to get most of it done this video. If not, you know, there's always another video. I want to say if you're one of the 4 or 5 people that have watched my videos, thank you. And if you're just joining us, I'll put a playlist here. It'll make a lot more sense how we got there. All right, let's get this thing done, guys. To start off, I need to come through and see how bad this darn thing has rotted. I'm really hoping to save this. Okay, I ground it back, and you can see right in here is where I was worried. It definitely looks like it's clear metal. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The big reason I don't want to do this is because obviously this needs to be a good weld. And I need to make sure that I don't just screw this up. It's gonna take quite a bit of time. But my other problem is here, if I come over here and I dig this out, I don't know if you guys can see, but all of this line is actually spot welded. So I pretty much have to butcher this entire line here. Butcher all in through here. It's like one or the other, you know, I'm trying to weigh my options. Plus, keeping the most original metal is nice. So I went ahead and drilled out the spot welds over here, and we're just going to slice along here. Try to keep as much as we can, and then go ahead and do the inner cowl and just kind of think on this. You know, just let it boil in my brain for a little bit. Oh, maybe, could be, yes. Ooh. There we go. Yeah, it just, well, I could have cut all that out. Look at how trash it is. Kind of looking at it from the back here, where we cut, you see even the metal in the back here was pretty good, which is my biggest worry. So I think we're going to be solid. Now, you know, just solid as in, this metal is good, but actually being able to weld a panel in and make it look good, well, you know, that's jury's out. Okay, so now we got to come in from the inside and, you know, make all this happen. Quick talk about patch panels, guys, because not all patch panels are created equal. Come to find out, some people just kind of stamp something out. There's other types you can get, that kind of thing. So this here is the full inner cowl replacement. It's got everything, and then this here is just kind of a patch panel for it. There's like I think a $10, $15 difference between the two. Just get this one. Every time, get this one, and this is why. So this one here kind of has a lip that's similar. Gives you the general shape of what you need inside, but it's missing a ton of stuff. So it does give you the cutout, but it doesn't give you this nice little lip here, like the factory one has. This one has all the nuts on in case, especially in our case, where we're probably gonna have to cut in here, we're going to need these, where this is probably what we're gonna keep. So you're gonna want all of this, guys. It has the wraparound piece here, which goes there. And even more importantly, it's got this flange here that you actually weld to the floor altogether. So this is a complete patch panel. So this is what you guys are gonna want. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and knock this panel exactly how we did the driver's side, and just cut right along the windlace rail and then straight over and then slam the panel in. We just have to get this out, which I'm just gonna impact right out, and hopefully these things come out without stripping. They are rusted tight. Nope, that one's stuck. Damn it. Vice grips. Let's just try channel locks, huh? Maybe, no, could be, should be, wanna be. Oh, too big. Yeah, that's not working at all. Can you guys even see what I'm doing? Probably not. So our guy right there stripped out on me. Ooh. Time for some locking pliers. I bet you guys haven't seen locking pliers that old. Oh man. I love old stuff. I mean, old tools, old anything, obviously, the old cars. I dig it when I find like super old stuff like this. No. And honestly, this is a lot less slop than a lot of the new locking pliers do. Come on, just snap on there. Well, I'm gonna be here till I'm 90. Yep. There we go. Wouldn't be any fun if it wasn't a struggle, right? Oh, maybe? Oh, I did weld. I welded the panel. Oh, no, I want to do it. There it is. Nice. Well, the GoPro trials keep happening. I actually lost the audio on this. But what I'm talking about here is that this is actually pretty rotted out. I got a couple pinholes. I went ahead and hit it with my body hammer here as I'm showing you, and basically found a bunch of thin metal. So we're going to have to go ahead and cut this out and replace it. So what I have here is just a piece of metal. I cut off the patch panels that I have. Just kind of ground it down. You know, I'm just trying to reuse what I can basically. And it's way too big, but I'm going to fit it up. And my goal here is just to get the patch panel to bend into that bend that the toe board has to the firewall right there. I want to recreate it the best I can. That way it looks factory when it's kind of done, especially from the outside, which is kind of my biggest goal for this. So I'm just clamping this up here, and I'm going to go ahead and knock it back with a body hammer, trying to hopefully, you know, form that bend. Even after this, I don't show it on camera, but I bend it back into certain areas and over like a round piece of stock just to get it into a good shape. Here, I'm just going to kind of trim the shape because obviously it's way too big. I just kind of want to get a general size real quick. And obviously, once we weld it in, we'll cut it to size once it's finally where it needs to be. But having a piece of panel that's way too big is way easier to work with and obviously too small. And here we are with everything kind of all mocked up. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. And you'll see it welds in pretty good. And the curve looks, you know, pretty natural, right where it should be. And you can see right in there. And then what I'm talking about right here is that flange. I actually am going to cut that flange out. So we're going to have to recreate that flange. I kind of cut that out because trying to voice over all that's going to be difficult. But you'll see we just add another piece of stock. And then here I'm talking about just cutting it out. And here you can see that I am finally welding it back in. So we can finally get back to our regularly scheduled program, and hopefully I don't have any more fails with this GoPro. Probably not, but a guy can hope. One more bit of audio that I'm going to have to fix is right here. And basically, I'm just fitting up the cowl panel to the floor and showing you that the two patch panels simply just don't match up. And it happened on my driver's side, so I'm not surprised by it. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how I went ahead and fixed it. But it's just so far out that we're going to have to kind of form that little ledge right there that I'm pointing to and get those two panels to match up. But it doesn't take very long, and it's pretty straightforward, guys. And basically what I learned from the last side was just bend. Bend blindly. And then use my dolly to kind of hammer form it. Now just do that like 70 million more times. And we should be where we need to be. The only thing is when you do this, it kind of buckles the floor a little bit. So make sure you hammer the floor back flat. It's kind of a balancing act. Like I said, guys, I'm hammer forming, so I'm trying to do hammer on dolly. I want to stretch the metal. Okay, so after just a little while, obviously we got a much better fit here. Let me bring you in. Looks a lot better on camera than it is. you do have a little bit of a gap, but our biggest problem now is that we need to come through and trim this. I did trim it a little bit, and it's cockeyed because right in here still needs to be trimmed, and I'm gonna kind of have to fine tune it. Because we gotta close up this gap, get this shifted where it needs to, make sure everything's lining up here. Basically, just kind of tell it where it needs to go, massage it, do that kind of thing. So let me bring it out, and I'm gonna slowly just kind of grind on this a little bit and kind of massage this where it needs to be. Okay, panel is in, and man, it's check, fit, grind, check, fit, grind, check, fit, grind, check, fit, grind, just over and over. But it's in, and I have to say it actually looks pretty good, guys. We have it all matched up right here, so we'll be able to press it against and spot weld it pretty good. I got it clamped in, so along the edge it's gonna be all right. And, oh yeah, so we're really good up against the ledge here. Let me turn the light off and I'll show you. We have a little tiny bit of a hole here, and I'll just come in and weld it up right through here. No big deal. I still actually have to do the other side, so I'm not surprised. And what I did here is, since we actually have these 3 bolt holes here, and we need to make sure they're aligned, especially when I graft this panel in, I went ahead and ran a bolt straight through where the bolt holes are, just to make sure that they're all lined up. Everything is where it needs to be, and we're looking good. Man, okay. It's coming together good. I'm really happy because that pretty much sums up all the rust repair inside the cab, and I don't have to be, you know, down here origamiing my body to try to fit in these tiny little holes while burning my scalp with all of the, what is that? Sparks and stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and get this panel off. We'll go ahead and get all the holes put in for the spot welds, and we will get this in. Now, I already talked about this in my last video, but basically what I'm gonna do is actually measure this out and put a mark every inch. And all that is gonna do for me is let me know where I need to punch a hole, so that we can have a spot weld roughly every inch. And we know that way that we have enough and we're getting enough coverage so that it holds on right. Now, you don't have to be this precise. It just, you know, makes it easier for me to just kind of visualize that it is actually every inch. And that way, you know, because I'm one of those people, like, I wish I could just sometimes just kind of half-ass something. And sometimes I do, but like, I don't know, it'll like boggles my brain, like not boggles, but like burns on my brain when like, if something goes wrong and you know like, it could have been that one thing I didn't do right, you know? So I'm stuck always being like, well, if I just go in here and do it right the first time, then I don't have to think that was the reason. That's just kind of my ideology behind it. I'm just gonna put 2 here, one here, here. Punch from Harbor Freight, which is amazing because trying to drill 1,000 of these will just, it'd be a lot. You just come in here and go, bam. There you go, guys, and that's it, and all the holes are in. And don't do what I did and flip this stupid thing around and not paying attention, because it has like a little lip to create a ledge for you and create a flange. So I'll have to hammer that out. Jesus. Oh, something. Anyways, let me go through and grind up all this stuff. We'll hit it with some weld through primer, and I'll bring it back over to the truck. All right, we have all the weld through primer you could ask for everywhere. So this thing is gonna be well protected. Now it's just a matter of slamming this bad boy in, finally getting it set up for the last time. Get the screw bolts in first. I don't know, can you guys even see that? So basically what I was doing was getting these bolts in, you know, and dropping them, same thing. I swear I have the like most butterfingers. It's so hard for me to hold on to things, I swear. Back to the bin for another bolt. So that's one gone now. It is amazing where stuff goes. Probably on the floor somewhere. I'll find it later when I'm actually sweeping and cleaning up. See, this here, guys, is why like I usually bring you back when I do stuff, because, you know, now I'm spending 14 minutes trying to get bolts in. And there's only like 4 people that watch my videos right now anyways. I do a 14-minute long video of me putting a bolt in. There will be a lot less. Yeah, that ain't going. This is going well. Looks damn good. Again, our fitment here is not great, but we'll have to weld it. Well, the fitment's fine. There is just a gap there. Patch panel stuff. So we'll have to get that all. We'll have to weld that one up. I can't speak right now. So here we are on the outside of the truck, and we're just going to come through and start spot welding just like we did the other side. I've got a bit of a gap here because the floor stops here. This is where my holes ended up. I may just spot weld here and here, maybe drill new ones, probably right up in here. But if I have to drill a couple, that's fine. I'll still probably fill these up, but yeah, I might have to drill a hole here. Where's my drill? Let's just do that now. If I can, yeah, try to. That'll work right there. Well, actually, again, it's the next day, guys. My fiance called me in, and you know, when the boss calls, you have to go. So I went in and hung out with her for the night, but we're back in here, back on it. And I will say, this thing is fighting me. It wants to go 9 rounds in a boxing match, I swear. This panel has taken me forever. Let me show you what the problem is now. We're almost there, guys, though, almost there. So, as you guys saw, I was welding this in, but I don't know, is it going to come up where this, you can see where this flange is kind of bent here. Basically, I thought this was laying flat, so I kind of hammered on it to tap this edge down, and this just kind of caved in on me, and I realized that there's just a giant gap here. So, I could probably just leave it, to be honest. It's probably sealed enough, but I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut along this line and then knock this flat against the cab and then cut off the excess and then weld it back. So kind of, once it's all done, you won't even tell that we did that. And then while I'm here, I might as well just clean up the flange. Because, and then you know what it is, it's inconsistency with patch panels. This is patch panel problems because we know that we're good up here, so this is in the right place. Down here, this is exactly where it needs to be. And since we came in here and we lined up these holes, we know that the panel is actually where it needs to be. So this is just some inconsistencies in the making that just needs to be cleaned up. And you know what? That's just part of patch panels. So we just need to knock that out. But as you can see, all this is spot welded. I went ahead and finished spot welding in here. Didn't actually go all the way up because we still need to weld these in. But we're almost there, guys. Oh, I did come in and weld up the little areas, you know, where the gaps were and stuff like that. And I'll smooth it out before we seam seal it, but I just want to get the gaps filled. All right, let's beat this panel into submission one last time. So again, just cut here, clean it up, and let's knock it out, guys. So everything in here is pretty much done anyways. I already have all the pieces. The door already fits. Might as well just knock this side out and take care of it. Now, the hardest part for me again is going to be this fitting this panel up because I've kind of been using the cut and butt. And again, I mentioned cut and butt a lot, but I haven't mentioned Fitzy's Fabrication, which is where I got that from. I'll put a link right here for the channel. He's amazing. He just, all simple tools, really shows, you know, any average guy or girl how to come in here and weld this all up. You know what I mean? So I actually have to like really butt this up, really trim and fit the panel really nicely. I'm really happy with how this actually looks. So I definitely want the panel to be fitting really nice. And that's going to be the struggle here, guys. So here's my panel and we'll get that all fit up. Well, 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 not bad at all. I went ahead and mocked it up. Man, that looks so good. I'm using these 7/16 bolts because it's the exact size of the hole. Because this, remember, this patch panel is really nice. I'm so bummed I don't have it for the driver's side. It came with the holes already drilled for alignment. So I got the 7/16 bolts in and they fit up perfectly. The alignment in here is pretty good. Once I push this in, which is the, well, sorry, here you go. Once I push this part in, fits pretty good up against here. I may have to tap this flange over a little bit to get a nice spot weld in there. But that fits nice. Over here, I have it clamped in. My camera skills are killing me right now. Right over here, I have it clamped in, guys. Let me see if you can see the back clamp. Yeah, so right here. So it's clamped to the rocker right now. Fits real nice. Set up pretty good over here. Obviously, this flange is supposed to stick out a little bit because over here on the stock part, you just knock it over just like that. But it looks pretty good. So cross my fingers, this panel should go in pretty solid. If anything, just throw some self-tappers in right now and just call it good. Man, that looks good. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and cut the panel. Now I know that right about here is where I'm going to be matching it up. So I'm actually gonna cut into this particular louver. I'm just gonna leave the bottom, just cut the top part off, and then I'm gonna follow this all the way up. Leave plenty of meat on this panel. And then cut this off. That way I can get a better matchup. And we can kind of start figuring this out. I think that's gonna be the best path for this. And then slowly kind of whittle away the metal in here and get it to match up real nice. All right, guys, let me get this trimmed and I'll bring you guys back in. I swear the fails keep coming, guys. I think I just love punishing myself a little bit. I don't even, man. So I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, oh, this is going well. It's fitting up. It's getting where I wanted to. Measurements are kind of going wide, a little bit of a gap here and there, but no big deal. Then, you know, me being a complete idiot that I am, I totally forgot about the door gap. And which is hilarious because the whole reason I'm trying to bend hinges is to get the door on there, the door gap for the driver's side. So let me show you what's going on. Here we are. I got the door on here, and I'll take my magnets off here. And basically, there we go. I had this fitting just nice. It's fitting really good. Measurements are coming out. There's a little bit of gaps here and there, but that was nothing that I couldn't weld up and shouldn't have been a problem. And then I came down here once I got the door on and I was like, oh no. And I knew it was gonna happen. As soon as I remember the door, I was like, oh, this is gonna be bad. So if I come over here and I adjust the gap to about where it needs to be, which is right about, oh, I have to open the door again when I do that. Now, try that again. When I adjust the gap to about where it should be, which is right about there, which runs pretty much all the way up, I've got the Grand Canyon over here, guys. Fits decent enough here that I could fix it up, but I mean, that's a huge gap. Now, I don't really know what I want to do here. But what I tried to do, and what you saw kind of set up here, was I was trying to take a little piece, kind of bend it up, get it to fit. And that was, you know, it was going terrible. So basically I couldn't get this to sit right, and I was gonna have to really weld it up and kind of butcher that area, end up with a lot of filler. And putting all the filler in there isn't something I really want to do. I mean, I'm replacing all this. It was a Bondo buggy when I first got this truck. So, okay, actually crisis diverted, guys. I kind of figured out what I was doing. It was false alarm. I mean, well, to the patch panel. I'm still an idiot. This is what actually happened. So this is how my panel was fitting before. Like I said, a little bit of gaps here, but I was getting nice butt welds. I was fitting them up. Everything looked good. And then when I went to fit up the gap, it wasn't fitting. But now look at it. Nice, solid, consistent gap. It does kind of get close here, but this needs to be tapped in. I stretched this a little bit, but as long as the corners add up, we're good. And consistent all the way through. But as you can tell, the gap is better. What I did was, when I decided to fit the door, somehow over here, I had dropped the panel like this. Just enough to where once I put this on, for me to correct the gap that was happening down there, I had to push it this way to compensate for it and just kind of knock out what I had done. And it didn't make sense to me because I had followed all the measurements I was talking to you guys about and everything, how it could be so out of whack. Well, that's how. It's crazy. You really gotta just, you know, stay on top and figure out everything you're doing. But I'm glad I gave it another try because, you know, it's one of those things, you know, like it just sits on your brain, you know, just kind of boiling. I went in, I had lunch, and I was like, what did I do that was so off? But it turns out something really simple, dumb, but simple. So what we're gonna do now is come through and finish fitting a little bit, and I'll put you on time ramps for this. Now this is also kind of a problem. It fits, so it fits here really nice actually. But you see how this is starting to pop out? Basically the curvature is slightly different. Now I thought about trying to fit it after it's on there, but I really don't know how to do that. And then none of my hammer dollies are curved. So what I'm kind of going to do is get all this, you know, done. And then come in here and kind of try to shape it. Get a dolly. I can fit a dolly behind here. You can see my hands and stuff. And just kind of shape the panel a little bit. But again, if this gets a little tad off, and I'm not too worried because this will be covered by the hood. Well, I took the panel off to kind of prep it for welding. But what I want to do first is, I've already come in here. I just wire wheeled everything. These kind of streaks you see here is... knocked out some brake clean to make sure I got all grease and everything out of here. So I'll put some streaks in that weld through primer. I went ahead and scuffed everything with a red Scotch-Brite pad. So what I want to do is come in and hit everything with a rust reformer. Now this Rust-Oleum rust reformer, I'm actually really impressed with it. It's actually what I used on my wheels here, guys. So when I first got these, let's see. So when I first got these bad boys, these artilleries, they were all rusted up pretty bad. All I did was pressure washed them off and then kind of hit it with a scuff pad, and then I hit it with this. That was like 1.5 years ago. It's held up really well. It's been awesome. I'm actually really impressed with this stuff. And this stuff's a lot cheaper than say like that Eastwood rust encapsulator and stuff like this. I think you can pick it up for like $7, $8 a can, where Eastwood's I think is up to like $25 a can. Well, I jumped a little bit ahead here. So look at that black though. It came out really good. I had some runs in it, but I don't really care. But man, I love this. It looks nice seeing all the rust gone. We got some drips out here, but that's all gonna get stripped, so that doesn't matter. I have the hinges in because I've done quite a bit of work since we were last on film. The inside is nice and painted, so we know this is protected. I did go ahead and cut and butt this, so this is just tack welded, but I can come in and finish weld it. But now I don't have to worry about getting the pieces out or anything like that. So that's done. And then I went ahead and, as you can see, weld through primered everything. Everything is ready to go down here. Even got some on the frame, on my nicely painted frame, which is exactly what you want. So that's awesome. And then this is already done. Ground down the front. Everything is ready to install. Even have my freshly painted part on the floor over there. So everything is ready to go. All we have to do now is fit up the door one last time. So, you know, 1/1,000,000th time should be the charm kind of thing. And gaps have been achieved. So here we are, nice and tight all the way down. Not too wide at the bottom. We actually look good for here for once. And then my measurements that we talked about before from this hole to this hole is spot on. And from here to here, spot on. So that is where the panel needs to be. Our gaps over here look really good. Pretty consistent all the way up. This might kind of be kicked out just a tiny bit, which would open this bottom gap, which I'm okay with. Our body lines are solid all the way across. This door actually opens and closes, which is such a nice change. So what I'm gonna do here is just kind of fit these panels up real nice and start welding them in. Okay, I'm actually about to take the door off so I can finally finish weld the lip on the inside here to the pillar. But what I wanted to show you is what I was doing to align these doors, because I was taking them off, you know, 9, 6, 7,000 times. So I basically had drilled an 1/8 inch hole and I was using Klinkos. And basically, if you're not familiar with them, they're just, you drill an 1/8 inch hole and then you push it in and then it just kind of grabs on and allows for alignment every time since it's a tight fit. And it made it taking the door on and off and finding the right place so much easier. Man, guys, I'm not even gonna try to hide how happy I am right now. This came out way better than I could have hoped, especially with how stressed I was about that patch panel. Like, it's just, oh, it's awesome. And so after that time lapse, I went ahead and went through and finish welded everything, ground everything down, got it to where I could call this side done for now. I mean, not bodywork ready, but we're almost there. Let me show you what we did, guys. I'm excited. So here we have it. So this is the panel all ground down, finished welded, and it is by no means perfect. It definitely needs a little bit of fiberglass and filler, but I will take it. For my skill level and for how worried I was about this panel, it's pretty good. Definitely gonna need a little bit of filler, but I'll take it. All of our spot welds are ground down. Everything's hooked up in here. You can actually see how hammered this panel is from me. I had hammered this to match this up to close the gap in there, but that's okay. This is gonna get epoxy primed, and then it's gonna get some bed liner. You won't even notice. This is all ground down. Looks awesome. I did go ahead and hit this with 80 grit on a DA after I ground it down. So one thing though is, so you're supposed to hammer this ledge over. So it's got this little lip. and then you just hammer this lip over just like they did from factory. I don't know if you guys can see that. But this left quite a bit, so I kind of stopped. I'm not sure if I'm going to trim it a little bit before I ham it over. That's probably the last thing I have to do. I went ahead and finished welding here, guys. All this is welded and ground down, welded and ground down. Our original panel still fits. All the holes line up. Super excited about that. The only thing actually is I've got a huge hole here, guys. And honestly, I think that was going to happen over there. It was already something I was thinking about. If you can see, yeah, right over here. This opening, I didn't think that the panel was going to cover it either. So I'm most likely going to have to come in with like a piece of metal and just weld it in, and then we'll seam seal it just to cover the cab up. But that's it, guys. This side is officially done. Well, done for now, done with the rust repair. And what's kind of cool is you can tell that this thing has been painted a few times. So this cab was originally red, and I didn't know that because if you see here, that's a primer line, and that's the red that you see now. That's green, and that's kind of the color that's been showing through everywhere. And that's what I thought the cab was, but you go right below the green, and then there's red, and then I'm guessing some kind of oxide primer. So this was an original red cab that I'm painted green, then red. There's a lot of layers under there, so we'll get that all peeled back. But man, guys, this looks so good. I'm incredibly happy with how it turned out. Again, not perfect, but for my skill level, I will take it. Man, a door that closes nicely. What a concept. This one was a hard fought battle, guys. A couple fails, a lot of scares, but we got there and the passenger side is done. I'm excited for the future of this truck. And I'm a little worried that maybe that driver's passenger side fender isn't gonna fit, or heck, driver's side too, with all the patch paneling and changing geometry and, you know, all that mathematical stuff. So, but we'll try it, you know, cross that bridge when we come, that kind of thing. So again, that's going to be it for me on this one, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for the support. Please check me out on Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And again, guys, if I can do this, so can you. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Just check out all of the cancer that we cut out of the truck. This is all that rusted out metal. Man, I had no idea it was so much. Look at all them Bondo worms. Definitely not a Bondo buggy anymore.